What's up, everybody? This is Steve with Press Start News, and if you watch any of my unboxing and pickup videos, one from a few months back, you know that I randomly came across a bunch of Japanese games over at a Goodwill one day. Some of those games were Famicom carts, which are the original Nintendo console over in Japan, same as the NES, but the family computer over in Japan. Up until now, I haven't had a way to actually play those games, so they've been just sitting on my shelf, just looking pretty. But haven't been able to actually play them because I've been looking for the adapter to actually make them work on the original Nintendo system. A lot of the adapters that are available don't actually work in the front loader. There's apparently a certain chip or something that needs to be inside. I don't know that much, so I'm not going to get into details about that or anything like that. But you can't just use apparently any of those adapters. The more cheaper ones that are in like the somewhere between $10 to $15 range are only for the top loader NES. And if you know anything about those, they're not that common to come across, and they're quite expensive when you do. I still have my original front loader NES from when I was a kid, so I have no reason to go buy a top loader and just in case I've come across a crazy deal on it. So I'm looking for an adapter that works in the front loader, and they're upwards of 30 and up, which I didn't really want to pay that much just for, it kind of feels a little bit novelty, mostly just to try out the ones that I do have. Well, Hyperkin has come out with an adapter. So this is the 60 to 72 pin adapter by Hyperkin. So what we're going to do now, it just came in today. It's only been out for a couple of days. So what we'll do now is we're going to unbox this because I haven't even taken it out of the box yet. We're going to take it out. We're going to take a quick look at it, and then I'm going to pop it in to my NES, and we're going to look and make sure that everything is firing up and see how that goes. So without further ado, let's take a look. Alright, so we've got the 60 to 72 pin adapter. So if you don't understand that, the original Famicom had the pins on the inside. There's only 60, whereas on the NES that came out in the US as well as Europe has 72 pins. So we can't just stick these in the slot, try to open it up or force it in and, something like that. Plus, as you see, these are much, much smaller than an actual NES cartridge. So these would basically get stuck in the system even if you could put it in there. So what this adapter is going to do is not only give me that extra distance, but also give me the right number of pins for this to go into and the right number of pins to go into the system. And so that should make everything work. So let's open it up. I haven't taken it out of the box yet. I've only cut the tape on it so that we can get into it easily. What I do like, before I go into that, Hyperkin, a lot of people can say what they want about their products. These guys know how to make a box. The presentation is always there. One thing I always love is right there where their name goes, is that they got that little slick kind of cut edge on there. That looks really cool, and especially when they do that on some of their clone systems, they have that over in the corner, so that always gives a little bit extra to the presentation. Alright, so nothing much in the box, just a little tray with the adapter in it. Alright, so there is a little card here. For non-North American NES, if the game does not start when you press power, press reset 4 to 8 times, which will automatically detect and save region settings. So that's good to know. We may just need to do that. Alright, so here is the adapter. So you see this this string, this tab here. This is for when you stick it into the front loader and you have the cartridge that's sticking there, you can't, if you try to pull on the Famicom cart, it might just come out of this adapter and then you still got this stuck inside. So that's what this is for. So you actually use this to pull it out of the system, which hopefully won't be too tough because I've got a replacement pin connector inside of mine. So it's a little stiff, but not too bad. All right, so I've got my Famicom carts here. So got my Rockman 2, which is Mega Man 2. So let's see, basically I think you have to put it in reverse so that the Famicom cart is upside down, which makes sense because if you look at that angled side there, I don't know if you can really even get it up against my shirt. You see that angled side there? The front of the Famicom cart has that same angled side, and the system does look for, you know, the way the tray is made, because the original NES cartridges have that same you know, kind of flat angled side. So I'm not sure if that really makes that much of a difference, because now that I'm looking at it, it's actually kind of, you can see over here where it's not actually the same width. So I don't think it goes in the other way. It's a little stiff too, trying to take it out. But it fits the other way too, so I don't know. We'll find out which way it's supposed to go. But most of the ones I've seen, you put the cart in the opposite way, and it went in pretty well that way. So we'll try that first and see if that works. So there's not much to this, you know. There's a sticker on the bottom of it that just has Hyperkin's logo, 60 to 72 pin adapter for NES, and item number. And then you've got on this side, it says FC, which is Famicom, and NES, and the arrow pointing which way, you know, or indicating which side everything goes on if you couldn't figure that out. So let's move over to the NES. Let's take a look at when we pop this in, if everything goes according to plan, and go from there. If everything is good, it's not much to it. I mean, Hyperkin may have a really good product on their hand with this, because this is something that, you know, a lot of people are probably going to pick up that do pick up Japanese carts. So let's go take a look. All right, guys, so we're over here on the streaming setup so that I can show you how it works with the 67 pin adapter inside the NES. I did have some trouble getting it set up initially. You do have to put the Famicom cartridge in the reverse direction. So if you're using the front loader like I am, the label of the Famicom cartridge is going to be pointing downward. So make sure you have it facing that way. I do have my lockout chip disabled, which is good, because for whatever reason I'm having a lot of trouble getting it to actually push the spring down and getting it to lock. I got it to do it once, but I had to give it a whole lot of force to get it to actually stay down, and a lot more to get it to come back up. So I'm just gonna leave it. I don't push it down anyway with my NES cartridges, just to kind of preserve the pins so it doesn't bend them over time from that. My carts, I believe, are probably dirty. Famicom carts, as you can see here, don't have any screws in them like NES cartridges do, so they're not easy to open. So you probably won't want to do that, because you could break the shell. I'm not going to bother to open it. I do have one of these 1-up cards here, so I use that to go and give them a bit of a cleaning. Not, in my opinion, the most thorough way to clean it, but a lot of people use them, and they do work. You know, they give you a side to put some fluid. I put some isopropyl alcohol 91% on it. And then there's a dry side to dry it out and clean it out with. So I went through all 4 of the carts that I have. Only one of them has consistently stayed on. So to not rock the boat, I left it in the system. So let's go ahead and fire it up, and I'll show you what I got. reach over, turn it on. Got my controller here. So this particular game right here, I don't know the actual name of it. I'd have to look into it, but it's basically like a River City Ransom type characters. I think it's in that family. I think there's a bunch of those games in that series. But this one is apparently some kind of like a sporting game, like some kind of racing or what have you. Of course, this is the one drawback I would say with playing Japanese games, especially if you're playing them straight from the actual original cartridge on real hardware, like I am here, is that you'll have, you know, just complete Japanese text. There's no translation patches or anything like that you're going to be able to apply in that situation. That is one of the benefits of the emulation systems like a Retron 5 or the Retro Freak. And the or if you use you know, like a Raspberry Pi or some kind, or hack your NES Classic or something like that, where you can put a patched version of the game on there and have all this in English. But since we know what type of game it is, I can surmise that 1, 2, 3, 4 is the number of players. Of course, I don't have any clues any of this, so I'm just gonna go with all the defaults. I'm just gonna start it off. I'll be player 1 here. So I have no idea how to get him to actually run faster. So for the most part of the race, I will probably be in last place. But as you can clearly see, it does work, and it works fairly well. Trying to see if I can catch up a little bit here. Yeah, so the guy knocked me down. Now I tried to knock him down. So it's kind of brutal, actually. But it's pretty decent. You know, something different I've never played before. I don't think this game was ever released in any format in the US. So this is pretty cool to you know, have tried something different here. So yeah, I'm probably gonna come in complete last place here. This part is kind of brutal because I can't get up there. Get up there. There we go. So if you've ever heard of this game, you've ever played this game, you know, let me know in the comments if you know anything about it, what you know about it, if it, you know, if it's any decent, if it gets better, what kind of events I should expect, anything like that. But otherwise, it seems pretty interesting. There's a swimming portion right here, which I like this part. I still suck at it, but you know. I have to figure out some more of the controls. I feel like I could actually like swim faster or something if I press one of these buttons or something, but it doesn't really seem to be doing much. Anyway, I think we're coming up on the end of the race, so I don't want to make you guys sit here and keep watching me horribly lose on this one, which is exactly what I'm doing. Oh, see, and then they got me right there at the end. I almost got third at least. But so it works. So aside from the difficulties that I had, which was really more of an issue with my cartridges needing to be cleaned, so I'm gonna have to find a way to actually get a more thorough cleaning on these games so I can give the others a try. This one actually did work, which was I think it's Renegade, my Contra, and which I think is actually Super Contra, and Rockman 2 did not actually come up at all. But you know, considering the games that they are, I could surmise that they're probably pretty dirty. So other than the games being dirty, you are getting two pass-throughs. So you're getting the pins from the cartridge going through one connection and then another connection going into the system. So if all your connections aren't clean, it's going to be a lot worse than what we get when we actually put an actual NES cartridge in there, which this one I've opened and thoroughly cleaned and fires up every single time. So you know, if I don't do that, then it's not going to fire up, you know, and that's where back in the day we were blowing them out. Don't do that, by the way. So this does work. So I highly recommend it if you have any Japanese carts and have a need to figure out a way to play them, especially on a front loader, or if you have a desire to get into that like I do, and you want to find, you know, something to be able to play them without having to actually get a Famicom or spend a bunch of money getting a top loader, or even have to go out and get one of the clone consoles just so you can have a top loader style system. You don't have to do any of that, which it does work with those, but you don't have to if you have an original front loader. You can get this adapter, and I'll grab it here and just grab the little ribbon and pull it right on out. So yeah, and as you can see, this is the front of the actual adapter, back of the cartridge, front of the cartridge, back of the cartridge adapter. So, and it comes right off. It did feel a little stiff initially, and one of these pins does look like it's kind of starting to come out of place a little bit. So I'm actually gonna poke that one. I think I might poke that one back down, but I mean, it's working, so I may leave it alone while I rock the boat, right? But yeah, it's a good adapter, so I highly recommend it. The Hyperkin 6272 pin adapter. Go check it out.